Central question number 4, analyze the factors that led to the rise of the Dutch Republic and its commercial success in the 17th century. In the late 16th century, the 7 northern provinces of the Netherlands had fought for and won their independence from Spain. The independence of the Republic of the United Provinces of the Netherlands will be recognized in 1648 in the treaty that ended the 30 Years' War. In this period, often called the Golden Age of the Netherlands, Dutch ideas and attitudes will play a profound role in shaping a new and modern worldview, and at the same time, the United Provinces developed its own distinctive model of a constitutional state. The government will be dominated by the bourgeoisie, whose wealth and power limited the power of the state, and the government was run by representative institutions. The government consisted of an organized confederation of 7 provinces, each with representative government. Each province will send a rep to the Estates General. Holland and Zeeland were the 2 richest and influential provinces at this time, and each province and city was autonomous or self-governing. Each province elected a stadtholder or governor and military leader. And during times of crisis, all 7 provinces would elect the same stadtholder, usually from the House of Orange. The House of Orange should sound familiar to you from our last lecture series on constitutionalism in Western Europe, as we talked about William of Orange going from a stadtholder in the Dutch Republic, bringing his military with him as he's asked to become dual sovereign with Mary in England, and becomes William III of England at this time. After he leaves being the stadtholder for the Dutch Republic, they will go about 12 decades before ruling without, for the fear of a monarch that might want to take over instead of representative republic. The Dutch Republic will also be characterized by religious toleration. Calvinism has become the dominant religion, but will split between the Dutch Reformed, who were the majority and the most powerful, and the Armenian factions. Armenianism is just Calvinism without the belief in predestination, or that we're all predestined to either be saved or to not be saved. Armenians enjoyed full rights after 1632, and they consisted of much of the merchant class. Catholics and Jews at this time will also enjoy religious toleration, but will have much fewer rights than the Armenians and the Calvins. Religious toleration will enable the Netherlands, however, to foster a cosmopolitan society that promoted trade. And it's because of this that the Netherlands becomes the greatest mercantile nation of the 17th century. Amsterdam will become the banking and commercial center of Europe, replacing Antwerp that had dominated in the late 16th century. The richest city in Europe with a population of over 100,000 at this time. It will offer far lower interest rates than English banks, and this is the major reason for its banking dominance, and this is a significant impact on the Dutch Republic later as well. The Netherlands had to rely on commerce since it had few national resources, and the Dutch will have the largest fleet in the world dedicated to trade at this time. It has several outstanding ports that become a hub of European trade, and this is in part due because they did not have government controls and or monopolies that could interfere with free enterprise. Fishing will become the cornerstone of the Dutch economy, and major industries will include textiles, furniture, fine woolen goods, sugar, refining, tobacco cutting, brewing, pottery, glass, printing, paper-making, weapons, manufacturing, and shipbuilding. The Dutch East India Company and the Dutch West India Company will be organized at this time as cooperative ventures of private enterprise and the state. The Dutch East India Company will challenge the Portuguese in the east, including South Africa, Sri Lanka, and parts of Indonesia, while the Dutch West India Company will trade extensively with Latin America and Africa. Foreign policy at this time, the Dutch had just finished participation against the Habsburgs in the 30 Years' War that led to its recognition as an independent country in 1648 and freed it from Spanish influence. However, England's navigation laws and removal of the Dutch from New York will reduce Dutch economic influence in North America, and war with England and France in the 1670s is going to damage the United Provinces. Dikes in Holland will actually have to be opened in 1672, and much of the region flooded in order to prevent the French army from taking Amsterdam. And by the end of the War of Spanish Succession in 1713, the Dutch Republic will see a significant decline in political influence in the 18th century. After the death of William III of Britain in 1702, the provinces will prevent the emergence of another strong stadtholder, and unified political leadership therefore will vanish. Naval supremacy in the Dutch Republic is going to slowly but steadily be passed to the British, and the fishing industry as well will decline, and the Dutch will lose their technological superiority in shipbuilding. Countries between which Dutch ships have once carried goods now will begin to trade directly with one another. Similar stagnation will overtake the Dutch domestic industries. And what will actually save the United Provinces, as I talked to you about a little bit earlier, from becoming completely insignificant in European affairs will be their continued financial dominance in their banking system. Well past the middle of the 18th century, the Dutch banks are going to continue to finance European trade, and the Amsterdam Stock Exchange will remain an important financial institution.